Hi, my name is Charity Kuehn, and I am the Vice President of Church Financing for Union Bank and Trust and the President of Eminent Consulting. Thanks for joining me today. Today we're going to talk about the basics that you need to understand if you're going to go get a loan for your church. There are some key pieces of information that you need to have ready and prepared so that when you go to your bank or any bank, they are able to understand the information that you're providing them. The first thing we're going to talk about today is your financial statement. This is your profit and loss or income and expense statement and your balance sheet. These items need to be able to tie to each other, balance year over year, and make sense for multiple years in a row, showing all of your income and expenses and your equity in your church flowing through year over year. One of the first pieces of advice I give churches that come to me who have never gotten a loan before is to get a CPA involved in your financial statement. For years, you've been handling your financials, someone in your congregation maybe, and you completely understand what it is that you have on your books. But to convey that information to a lender can sometimes be difficult. So find a CPA either in your congregation or just in your community to come and sit down with you and at least take a look at what you have put together. Really, the best thing you can do is ask that CPA to provide you with compiled financial statements. It's a fairly simple process, and it helps the bank to feel comfortable with the statements because they can see that an accountant has been involved in the process. There are a couple of additional things that I really want you to look at when you're looking at your financials as well. Looking year over year at your expenses is a very important process. Is there anything within your expenses that might look strange to a financial organization? Do expenses go up one year and down one year in a certain category? Is there an expense in one particular year that isn't in any other year? Look at those items, note those items, research them, and be able to provide answers to questions that might come up around those items. Also, it's really important that you take a look at your financials and see if your church would be able to pay a loan back. Can you make a payment each year? Is there enough money left over at the end of the year to do that? If there's not, then you need to look in your budget and see if there are places that expenses can be redirected. Maybe some things that you only spend at the end of the year because you have the money, you invested in the community, you do good works at Christmas time. Some things that are very, very valuable and important, but in times of needing to borrow, could maybe be directed for the period of time that you're paying the loan back. I also want to just emphasize that liquidity is golden. So being sure that you can show on your balance sheet that you have cash in the bank, that you've provided some savings for your church. There's some liquidity there that in a time of difficulty, a bump in the road, that you would be able to handle that bump in the road. That also is very valuable to a lending organization. There are two last reports that I really want to talk about that I think are very important, and they sometimes can cause some anxiety for churches. The first one is your giving unit report. It's very important that you're able to provide your financial institution with a report that shows how many people in your church give regularly and consistently. Some churches have anxiety about providing the names of their givers, and that's fine. Most banks or lending institutions are okay with not knowing the exact person and their identity, but they do want to understand how many people within your church are committed, are giving on a regular basis. The other report that is very important in situations where you are doing construction or renovation is a budget for that construction. Be sure that you have a handle on what those numbers look like as you go to present your request for a loan to the bank. Have those research. Be sure your contractor has given you some good, solid information so that you can talk with the bank about that and that you can be knowledgeable. Lastly, I just want to emphasize that it's really important to understand all of these pieces, to know your numbers, and to be involved in them. And if there isn't that key person in your church that can do that, then find somebody, a professional in the church community, possibly a consultant, or even a lender who might be a friend of the church to help you do it as well. Well, that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining us. If you have any questions about any of these items, please feel free to reach out to us, and we'll see you soon.